I hired Carson as a videographer. Carson, how much do you pay for college? Yeah, I'm just going to ask you. I'm just going to totally put you on the spot. Student debt, what'd you pay? Okay, you paid $250,000 to go to college. What was the first salary offer you got from me when you had applied to 200 jobs and no one was hiring?
First offer after I negotiated.
Yes, after you negotiated. $28,000. Okay, $250,000 of debt, $28,000 a year. I didn't know his debt situation. All I knew is what the market would bear in Utah, and we offered that. And I'm not going to lie, guys. Back then, we did not have a financially successful company, and we paid on the cheap. We tried to save money everywhere we could because I didn't have the skills then that I have today. Yeah. So I want to answer Louise's question because I think of someone on your team like Shanae, my nickname Everything. I look at someone that's just like, well, I'm just that $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year person. And their greatest fear, I think, is that they're going to be in that job for 20 years. And they're dreading it, and Gen Z has no tolerance for that. Millennials aren't having it, but Gen Z is a total different animal, guys, and they're coming online real hard and fast. They are looking for a different level of mobility and flexibility and opportunity. And they're going to have, some of them a rude awakening, but they're also going to alter the way companies interact, and we're trying to get ahead of that curve. Carson sits behind the camera and watches me and implements what he's learning because he had the ultimate personal development program with me. He was learning business from me, he was learning real estate from me, he was learning all the personal hacks, and he was smart enough to implement them. And there was a time when he made a play to become marketing director. Now, video guy to marketing director, can we just pause on that for a moment? Does that make sense at all to anybody? No, so when he presented it, guess what I did to his face? I'll never forget, I had Christine sitting right here, I had Carson sitting right here, and I was sitting in the middle, and Carson said that, and I feel awful. I was a much less developed human then. I laughed right in his face. And Carson could have gone into shame and guilt, shut his mouth, and said, well, that was dumb. He doubled down, he looked at me, he says, I'm serious. And he said it with so much confidence that I said, I'm going to think about this. I gave him the opportunity, he crushed it. Because he was doing these things, Luis, then a time came where my entire world flipped on its head, and I made him the executive director of my company, then the CEO. And today he's president of the board, managing 10 different CEOs of the companies. And he's doing a really good job at it. A really good job at it. Carson is an extreme example because most people, they're not going to leap like that, but I would love to give everyone an opportunity that they could. And when we have people in this company that are willing to push themselves to master new things, learn new things, a big part of Superhuman is to help people develop new skills and new abilities that make them more attractive to get more opportunities. I'm training them to be leaders. I'm training them to actually build confidence. I'm training them to feel like they've got themselves organized because they do, and then I'm going to give them skills. And with those skills, they can elevate themselves. And they can, by the way, switch career paths, because we'll see that happen, and we'll see some people hop companies. And it's all one company, so who cares? But that's what I mean by a short horizon. In 5 years, if you don't see yourself in a significantly better place, you're going to be part of the 85% that hate what they do for a living. This is designed to say, if you get hired here, we're going to invest in you in multiple ways. And then it's up to them to do something with it. And 5 years from now, frankly, some people will still be in a very similar situation. But I promise you, the people that do this, there's no way they will be. There is no way that you don't do these things. A quick analogy. I am 3 weeks out from my bodybuild competition. And that means my body doesn't have time to acclimate to where I'm at because next week it's going to be in a new spot. In the last 2 days, I lost 2.5 more pounds. And so I'm approaching, right now I clocked in last week 5.9% body fat, which means that at my weight, 219 pounds, I can calculate what 6, 7, or 8% of body fat is. I basically have 15, 16 pounds of fat on my body left. So I can't lose 20 pounds or I'll die. It doesn't work, or I'll just start eroding muscle off my body. As you approach the extreme, guess how useful the scale is in telling you a story? The scale doesn't measure water. It doesn't measure body fat. All it can do is tell you the gross number. It doesn't separate it from muscular mass. And so what you do is you have bad optics. And similarly, you have to remind yourself every day of this. You have to wean yourself off the scale and you have to tell yourself, did I eat right? Did I exercise right? Did I follow everything? If I did, the scale won't tell me, but I just have to know and look in the mirror that I can see, by the way, that I'm improving. I just wish I had a stupid scale that could tell me in between my coaching sessions where they're actually gonna like measure things in ways that will be useful to you. You have to at some point know that if you put in the work, you're gonna get something out. Here's what I know. Someone spends a couple years in Superhuman or graduates or is a part of CEO boot camp, there's no way you're not a way more valuable asset inside this culture that is far more promotable. There's no way. So that's what this means, is they have to see that there's an opportunity for a huge increase. We have to provide a path that says, I can't guarantee you an increase in 5 years, but if you participate in these things, everything that you learn matters, especially if you apply and execute it. And then they're gonna make mistakes and they're gonna do some good things and they're gonna grow. That's the short-term horizon. Yeah. Any other feedback on this so far? Just making sure that we're kind of on the same page with our theories. What we're gonna throw it
I'm
at.
just happy that I have A players to give this to. I know that not everyone in my organization is an A player, and we have been very visibly trimming fat, if you will.
Yeah.
But the A players are hungry for this.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that this is an organization where I can be hungry.
Well, Marianne's another one that has done almost a decade of mentorship with me, and there's no confusion at why she's where she's at in her life. There's no way that a person does 5 or 10 years of life-changing mentorship like that and doesn't grow extraordinarily. What else are you seeing?
So, I'm Superhuman. I've heard a couple bits of feedback that people are nervous that will be used as a tool where it's not mandatory, but it's mandatory. That they're afraid that it'll be used for, like if you're not participating in it, then you can't be promoted in the company. And I'm wondering what your thoughts on that are.
That's not true at all. I think that if someone's ROI is going down, they're not going to be with the company because they're not an A player. And if someone knows how to maintain something good and grow something good, then they belong to be a part of the company. It's really simple. Guys, this is, if you haven't seen the movie Moneyball, our company is Moneyball. Carson is about to introduce Moneyball. There's stats now. Like we are measuring really important things that help us now. And so if there's anyone that's afraid that, oh no, I'm not going to make the team, I'm cut and I'm going to get lost in that psychology, number one, this is where you get your head fixed. And number two, you always get what you want. So if you're afraid, 6 months they won't be with us. They will be fired because they'll fire themselves. So they will become their own self-fulfilling prophecies. Will we have people in this company that opt out of these things and are A players and just keep growing? Dude, I'm good with that. I'm personally fine with that. But when you look for who you're going to promote, I think some of what you are going to look at is what is their ROI? What is their performance? And these things are personal, guys. These are just tools to help people get their lives organized and optimized and experience greater success. Do I think there will be a correlation between people participating here in promotion versus those that could be but opt out? How is there not going to be a correlation? But that doesn't mean that it's a hard and fast rule, and no, we won't make that a hard and fast rule either. Yeah. I will tell you what will happen the moment we launch this. You have posers and imposters on your teams that say they're part of our company and culture, and they're not. And you're going to find it out real fast, not because they don't show up here, but because you know what happens when you create greater opportunity? There's always a natural culling. People will decide where they're comfortable and when they're not. All this does is makes it harder for the bottom people to hide. And they will be found out because they will create it themselves. And that's okay. So no, it's totally optional. We're not going to mandate it. How many of you have people on your teams that sometimes do stupid stuff at work? Just curious if you've witnessed it or experienced that. I promise you that behind every stupid decision is not a professional poor choice. It's usually a what? Yeah, and guys, just understand that we have a history of the world that says it's no company's business to care what you do when you're not at work. Because truthfully, we don't have a right to that. But we're going to give an opportunity that says if you want us to care, we'll provide you resources. And if it's useful for you, take advantage of them. There's a lot of people that come to work at our company that hope to have mentorship with me. And I've never been able to provide the time or the resource to make it available. And for the first time ever, we actually have a way of doing that. You know, Luis is my one-on-one this year, and he's getting a very, very accelerated experience, far beyond what even Superhuman can be. But Superhuman is meant to give a very healthy mentorship dose to anyone that values that and wants that. And just, they see life as a game of growth, and they want to gamify it. You know, our brand says you can have it all. Our brand says that you can be on the journey of improving your body, improving your relationships, improving your finances, and feeling great about yourself and feeling great about life. And there's a lot of people that just don't. So I really hope that while Carson's right, this is definitely going to create some, this is definitely going to naturally create some drama with some people that get uncomfortable because we're providing more opportunity. It's the weirdest thing, guys. You provide greater opportunity and some people will go into full-on fear and scarcity over it. But if you fast forward a year from now, when people are being hired and this is the thing that's talked about at the offer, and people will say that was a solidifier for me, or like it wasn't an expectation switch, change, or do-over. It was just a part of the package. Can we just pause on this for a moment? Because I've had conversations with many of you individually, but can I get some feedback on, like, there's several of you in this room. You know, Trent's hung out with me for years. He knows a lot of this. Dan's been to Ukraine with me, about to be 2 times, and you know, we've got our own personal relationship, and Marianne's done some really deep mentorship with me. Out of curiosity, like, what do you guys actually really think about this? Not understand it, but what do you actually think? And I'm not looking for excitement, compliments, or accolades, because Carson did a great job bringing up some concerns, but what do you predict? What do you think will happen? You think what?
Saturday morning is a rough time.
That's intentional and that's strategy. I won't let it be a work time thing. And it will produce, it will require some sacrifice. That was a very hard decision. And Saturday 8 a.m. For some people just won't work, or maybe they'll want to participate in replay, or it might just axe some people out. But if it's personal, it also has to be outside of office hours. And we felt that a weekend was easier than an evening. So I agree. I think there's a group of people that will say that just doesn't work for me, and that's okay. Yeah. I promise you that we will not find a time that people love. Yeah, for me I would do it at 4 a.m. Dan's pumped about it. Yeah. Yeah, so that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. So so you guys understand the strategy of outside of office hours? If it cuts the number of participants in half, here's what I know about mentoring. Do you know why someone pays $500,000 or $250,000 to mentor with me? You have to know that moment is always a moment of faith that sucks when they write that check. But guess what happens when they do? Their commitment is so high, and guess what they get? A reward. I'm not going to charge anyone, so I'm going to charge them in a different painful way. And if I lose half the people because it's outside of office hours, I don't care. I would rather be with a smaller group that is sacrificing and is committed. And for anyone that it doesn't work, I wish it could if they really want it, but sacrifice, by the way, is actually a requirement for growth.